Now, it was something that you said. How do you generate green hydrogen? We've heard the challenges about these production volumes, but something else that I would like to talk about, how we as RWE would like to tackle this problematic issue at RWE. Now, how we tackle this is an integrated approach. We've heard something about it. It's a huge endeavor, and also we are of the opinion that you cannot do it alone. But in order to do it successfully, we need an integrated approach along the value creation chain. And so therefore, the green hydrogen is something that we think we can do, because what we need is green electrons, and this is the bottleneck factor in the end when we are looking at Germany and also across Europe. We as RWE are one of the leading renewables providers globally, offshore, onshore wind, leading also in onshore wind energy, and in so far we see a vast potential in synergies in our potential. Why hydrogen? We could say that from a historical perspective we are a power producing company. This is our competence. We have the gas competencies and skill sets in the UK with 7 gigawatts. We are one of the larger operators on the island. So that means that we need this skill set, how to optimize it, how to commercialize it. And this is something that we can also implement when it comes to hydrogen. We've heard about trading. My colleague, Dr. Landsmann from Uniper, has said so. Why is trading so important? Now, it is important because on the long run in Germany and in Europe 80% of hydrogen must be imported. So nowadays already we are depending on these energy imports. That's something that doesn't go without saying, because this dependence is something that will also develop into the future. And RWE, we are one of the leading trading houses. We assume our role and responsibility in that, and I think that this is a nice bridge, because in the end we've already heard that it's not only about producing hydrogen, it's a question, what are the use cases in which hydrogen will be important? And then it's all about getting an access to industrial customers, and then to jointly come up with customer solutions. Now, what does it mean to us as RWE in the value creation chain? Of course, we also think about our own path towards decarbonization. So in a perspective, hydrogen, of course, is one possibility to decarbonize. Gas power plants and DCS capabilities are important when it comes to that. So therefore, for 2040, we have the target to become climate neutral, and therefore we need to implement steps by 2030. We need to implement 1, 2 or 3 measurements, and we need to do this as we go along. Now, a short overview on renewables, and we've seen today on some charts that renewables is the decisive input factor for generating hydrogen. So here a short outlook where we're currently standing at with the offshore pipelines, but we are participating in global projects, and our portfolio will be significantly increased and broadened in the future. Specifically, it means that within the time period of 3 years we will invest 8 billion euros. We are in a transformation process right now, but this transformation process is taken seriously. Every euro that we invest, 90 cents go towards green technologies, renewables, batteries, and also on the long run in the perspective into hydrogen. Now, yet again, another view towards Germany. We've heard about energy intensity in Germany, and we've heard this already. It's a huge challenge to cover the energy demand, which will be 6 times as much as nowadays. So we can talk about the different solutions on the demand side. We also take some action and implement measures, but in the end of the day, electrification may only go as far as it can. We need green hydrogen molecules in the end. How is it that we are going to do that as RWE? We have a portfolio of approximately 30 projects right now. We are focusing on our core markets, particularly in Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, and Great Britain. So we talk about hydrogen and somehow expect that a lot of things are going to happen when we talk about it, but it cannot happen when we merely talk about it. We need to take it in a step-by-step approach and actually start implementing it. So generation, transport, and the end consumer and its application need to all be put together. And that's the approach that we follow through in all of our projects, because in the end of the day, it is the old problem of the chicken and the egg, which came first, because, it depends on the availability of hydrogen, and the producers think about whether or not they can come up with a competitive price. And then we talk about the infrastructure and its problem. In Germany, we are well positioned with the natural gas pipelines that must be rededicated for a new gas. Now, this is something that is not going to do, because this is also a green topic. The regulatory framework conditions and other framework conditions must also be given. Germany has made a vast jump forward. What happened over the last 8 months for available subsidies for these different programs, these different projects that are available here in Europe. All of this is great. A lot of these things have kicked off, but now it's about establishing business models, because hydrogen will also be subjected to a competitive market. These projects are the different projects that we have. We were shortlisted here for 4 projects. So GET-H2, and we would like to be among the first large-scale producers, and 300 megawatt by 2026, and also for Lingen, the gas-fired power plant, and the hydrogen side will also be improved there. Projects like Juventus are also a great possibility to show how to rethink this whole idea of hydrogen and how to actually do this in projects. Do we have an offshore electrolyzer? No, it can also be onshore. E-technology can be included, and all of this offers many different possibilities, because not only the power and the electrons must be brought onshore with lines, but no, not only about that, but also the hydrogen. And we need to find more ways of transporting this, and we need to look at these things in new perspectives in order to advance this by new inventions. This is what it actually takes in order to have hydrogen become a reality. I've just talked about it. Now, it's about getting from small to the bigger picture, establishing networks and getting long-term incentives, and looking about the energy mix that is still today very much depending on fossil fuels in the Netherlands and in northeastern Europe. Here in the Ruhr area, we are one of the heavy industrialized centers that can actually demand these new rededicated lines and have a use case. And so therefore it is worthwhile of transporting this to Europe and to Central Europe. And from the political sphere, we've seen the first measurements being implemented. We can see this here on this very slide. However, this is insufficient. Renewable energies must be further broadened. They must be swifter broadened. But if the sun isn't shining, if the wind isn't blowing, then today we are of course very happy about backup capacities, a secure supply. With hydrogen, however, the unique and nice thing is that we can produce it and can store it. We've shortly talked about storage facilities before. Now, in these caverns that can be used to store hydrogen, they are very, very important for system availability in this entire topic, so as for hydrogen to become a sustainable topic in the long run here in Europe. And here on this slide we can see it yet again, that this is about classification. So the hydrogen molecule is the molecule itself, so H2, nothing to be classified here. But one of my pre-presenters talked about the applied cases of application. So maybe the transport routes are too long, and maybe it is not clear enough. We've heard about different colors of hydrogen. So this is the reality. From RWE perspective, we see that the only sustainable hydrogen variant is the green type, because no fossil resources are used, but with in the scope and meaning of a rollout on the entire market, it is of course necessary to have a pragmatic approach. And when we think about imports on the medium and long run, there is the climate change, and then we need to look at the different classification of hydrogen. So where's the journey going to? The journey is going further on. Of course, it's about backup capacity. I've talked about it. Renewables are important, but especially in Germany, we are faced with a huge challenge because we're going away from nuclear. Coal is going to be a thing of the past. Renewables, unfortunately, did not grow as speedily as we were desiring. It is still a long process to get them approved by authorities, but in the end we need a reliable power supply. Where is it going to come from? And we at RWE see the chance to say, okay, also here in Germany we need new gas-fired power plants. We need capacities for that, but of course we don't want to see gas-fired power plants that endanger our targets for the climate change. So we need certain pathways that we could use. Maybe it's a good idea to use CCS or hydrogen. And these capacities, these possibilities must be something that we currently think about in order to make them become a reality in the future. So within this short outlook, let me summarize. The prioritization along the value chain and integrate H2 project is important. All of us need partners, and we need to implement different projects by looking at the entire project chain and value creation chain. It's very important that we speed up renewable energies even faster, and there are reasons as to why, from a historical perspective, we were pretty slow in Germany. So public acceptance, legal aspects, and approval by authorities, 6, 7 or maybe 10 years were needed in the past. So it offers a vast potential, and it is an opportunity that shouldn't be missed by the politicians. So now, what is green power? Alongside the investment, to us it's very clear. We can wish for a lot of different things, and also with regard to the upcoming federal election in Germany. I hope that everybody here in this very room is going to cast his or her vote, and we do have the possibility to shape the future. But what hydrogen is actually going to be in the future is going to be decided in Brussels. Brussels is going to decide whether or not we in Germany are going to be able to quickly generate and produce green hydrogen that's going to be used in gas-fired plants, or whether or not there are going to be certain rules and regulations that determine that we in Germany only have 9 of these power generation locations. So now when we not even 70% of the power in the outlet is carbon free. So with regards to technologies and the vast potential and challenges we have, these challenges must be met, and we must take a pragmatic approach towards hydrogen and the use case of hydrogen. Yes, in the end, also subsidy and funding is important. It is an emerging market. Funding is something that will, public funding is something that will not be there for the entire time. So I think it's necessary, and these projects hold vast chances, not only for RWE, but for all of us who are involved in this, to actually make a difference and be successful in what we do. Thank you for your attention.